Hey guys, welcome back. Hope everyone's doing well. God bless you all, and thank you for watching. This is our continuation of the Don't Be Another Brick in the Wall study. And just again, we have pictured here the freestone altar. All right, freestone. Nothing's bonded here, everything's stacked neatly. And just wanted to throw this picture in here before we get started. Now, the first time we hear about God's altar or any type of construction for an altar, it's in Exodus. And it's in Exodus 20:24, and this is where the Father speaks to Moses. Again, this is just an example of a definition. It's an offering of where sacrifices are made. So, again, we have the brick wall, which is a fixed, bonded, um, for the glory of Satan's kingdom, essentially, for self-fulfillment or self-indulgence. And again, we have the denying to oneself of things to offer up sacrifices to the Lord, spiritual sacrifices, which we'll get into towards the end a little bit. So this is the first verse we see as far as construction. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and thou shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and your peace offerings, your sheep and your oxen, in all the places where I record my name. I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. If thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone, which is cut stone. All right. If thou lift up a tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Okay, so again, these are all just stacked stones. No tool, nothing here to help build this altar. It's just stones gathered freely, all right, to come and make this altar sacrifice. Before we get into this too deep, I want to mention a couple things up front. Number one, God is unchanging. What's required then is what's required now. The temple in all its glory and beautiful craftsmanship was man inserting his own plan into what God wanted. Now, this gets into a little bit about Solomon, and I'm not going to downplay Solomon. I'm not going to badmouth Solomon, but if you read about Solomon and you look at how he built the altar, and there's a couple different books about this. There's the Testament of Solomon, which gets into some real kind of supernatural, creepy stuff with demons and demonic entities, and then you have in the Bible, essentially, it's commercialism with Hiram of Tyre, who's the king of Tyre at the time, doing some sort of trade agreement between Solomon and him for goods. Now, again, you got to look at the whole scripture about Solomon. In the end, he ends up going the way of, going into Ashtaroth and all these other entities, and he loses his wisdom. And that's when, of course, he pretty much writes, Ecclesiastes, where everything's just vanity. It's all vanity. So we don't know the whole outcome of Solomon, but it's a great learning tool nonetheless. The temple, of course, is no longer needed. You are his temple, and he dwells in you. That's the biggest thing. All those temples and altars for us to gain understanding. All those temples and altars that were built back then or used was for us to gain understanding that you give up things that you love, that you give up things that mean a lot to you for the benefit of others. And that, of course, is love and sacrifice, which, of course, the perfect sacrifice was Jesus Christ, who had no blame whatsoever. And us giving up our things to help others is essentially what it's about, is what the Lord was trying to teach us. The enemy, all right, so all these past experiences have happened so that we can learn and be wise on what to watch for in the future, as the enemy will always copy God with a diabolical twist. The original temple or tabernacle was built by what people sacrificed, all right? The original tabernacle was built by what people sacrificed from their homes. It was not built on commercialism, okay, as Solomon's temple. The people from Israel were asked by the Lord to give from their heart as a contribution. In this verse right here, this is Exodus 25. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring me an offering of every man giveth it willingly. All right, goes back to these stones, right? Willingly. All right, free stones, free to go. Giveth willingly with his heart, ye shall make me an offering, or my offering. And let them make me a sanctuary, that I may dwell among them, according to all that I show, after the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of instruments thereof, even so shall you make it, that they bring me offering, willing from his heart. Okay? So again, we see the free offering to the Father, selfless giving versus brick, which is fixed in bondage, and a slave to the altar of the enemy, glorifying and building his kingdom of enslavement and bondage. Notice how the verse of the Lord states, do not build it with a hewn stone. Keep this in the back of your mind for later. All right, we'll talk a little bit about those hewn stones. First, we're going to look at the tool. All right, why would the Lord be so specific in his word in saying not using an iron tool upon it, the altar? Okay, and then further says that this tool will pollute it. A tool used back then at this time frame would have been made of iron. Iron always coincides with the fallen angels and their harsh rule. You can map this iron by starting in Genesis. There's a lot of argument about how Cain killed Abel. Some say it was with a stone. Some say it was a plow blade. I believe Jasher and Jubilees kind of contradict each other, so you gotta just pray about it and ask the Lord. But anyway, so Cain killed Abel with an iron plow blade. Og of Bashan, a bed of iron. Goliath, a spear with its weight described with shekels of iron. The Canaanites' chariots of iron. And of course, we know in Daniel the iron and clay mixture. All right, this iron means the harsh rule, the punishment, the iron ruling with an iron fist. All right, it's gonna be perceived as freedom initially, but in actuality, it's not going to be freedom. It's going to be complete bondage. So you can map the iron out in the Bible. When you look at the iron, you can see a lot of similarities there. All right, the trowel is a tool that's used for spreading. All right, they call this buttering in the Masonic world. The mortar to the brick to ensure a snug, tight, strong bond with the brick. Or, in other words, what we've learned now, the human. So, to the iron tool, which is essentially technology, RFID will ensure the snug bond with the entity and its host. Okay, now, Dr. Roger Lear, all right, I've done several videos on it, so I didn't put him in here. Dr. Roger Lear discovered many people that have been abducted by aliens have pieces of meteoric iron in their body. All right, and their body was beginning to bond with this iron. This is God allowing the enemy to do certain things so that we can understand and see these things. This meteoric iron has certain capabilities with it and certain things. All right, and it essentially, these things caused a lot of issues. And if you look at my other Mark of the Beast videos, you can get a grip on exactly this RFID or these things that have been found in people that have been removed are all meteoric iron. Okay. So this ensures a seamless bond, and this ensures a seamless bond. Okay. So when you look at the word up here, word pollute up here in that verse, right here, this word pollute, thou hast polluted it, goes back to this word here, which means to bore, all right? To defile, to break, defile, pipe player on instruments, profane, pollute, defile, break, wounded, eat, slay. Eat is another word for consume, being consumed by the enemy. Half goat, half man, Pan, the pipe player, right? It all goes back to these entities bonding with the human to becoming one. All right, some sick stuff. This is what it means. This means destruction. It goes back to destruction. Let me pull it up real quick. I have it in the presentation here, but it means cutting instrument, destructive, knife, sword, or other sharp implement. Axe, dagger, knife. What does this sound like? The needle that injects the RFID. Okay, that's exactly what this is. All right, destructive effect. All right, boring into the flesh. Okay, that's exactly what they're doing. Half man, half goat, half entity, and half human. To bore. It's the hole in the temple where all the defile I think it's in Ezekiel. Since I didn't put it in here, I won't talk about it, but I think there's a defilement of the temple in Ezekiel. Look through this hole. Anyway, so pollute, contaminate, harmful, poisonous substance. This just basically for your benefit in the document, so that you can have the actual definition there. Infect, all right, an infection. That's all what it is. Now we're going to talk about the Hoonstone, all right, a little bit, and we're going to talk about these trees. Okay, so most of us know about Jonathan Cahn and the Harbinger prophecy, 9/11. This was, you go to verse 11 of this Isaiah chapter. I can't remember what chapter it is. I don't have it on here. I'm sorry, guys. But anyway, it talks about the Harbinger prophecy, about the sycamores, and there was an actual sycamore tree that fell, and they put a cedar in place of it. The bricks are falling. Talks about the two twin towers will rebuild, essentially. All those different things. And if you're not familiar, when I put this into my Google Drive, when I leave a link, you'll be able to resource this video of Jonathan Cahn talking about this prophecy. And I also have a wiki document there. So anyway, the point of this is this prophecy refers to a time past, September 11, 2001. I say it will also be fulfilled here in the future. Consider what Barack Obama wrote at the top of the One World Freedom Tower. Okay, so this is definitely true, and we know that the verses have different layers to them. Okay, so they can be repeated over and over again in different ways, and I think that's what's going to happen here. As I was reading this about the bricks, because that's what I took a search on bricks, and this is where it took me, and I was like, this sounds like the fall of Babylon, and you know, we haven't fallen as of yet, very, very close. But there was a short space from 2011 until now that got us, you know, looking for us to repent. Instead of repenting, this is what we come with, all right, our leadership, okay? So, again, if you don't know, you have this you know, this www, which goes back to the letter Vav, which is the number 666. Mark of the beast, okay, on top of this beam. We remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger. Most of us know this that have seen this, okay, but I put it here for people that haven't not seen this. So my case in point is when Babylon falls, when the system falls, the hidden worldly meaning, religion, education, politics, because when all these events start to occur, people are going to know that they have been taken for a fool. Not listening to the warnings, not listening to the people spreading the word, spreading the gospel, talking about things that the government's doing. The system will fall along with the actual buildings, along with actually America. In 1 hour, Babylon is destroyed. Okay, so I think that this could be a future verse, and we're going to talk about these rebuilding with hewn stones and sycamores. Okay. So again, when the bricks fall, the system of bondage, all right, that the mortar is going to give way. The bondage is going to fall. So essentially what you're going to have at this point is the bricks are going to be, the people are going to understand, they're going to be broken free from the bondage of darkness and however bad things are going to be occurring essentially, okay, but their eyes are going to pop open, all right? The bondage of the cement and the slime and the pit is going to be completely off of them, and the bricks will be free from that bondage essentially, okay? I hope I didn't repeat myself too much there, but so when Babylon falls, it'll come to a change, and a sudden rebuilding of a new beast system will emerge, and that's where this is going to come in, and this is going to have to happen fast, all right, because these bricks, they don't want to keep them free for very long. So the fallen, their pollution of technology and spirit will enter the human host body and bond with them through the beast system, through the mark, through the system. All right, now, what I want you to do, and I'm just going to go there real quick, is look at Joshua chapter 9. Be like a 30-second breakdown of this chapter. What you have is Joshua's destroyed Jericho, and you have these people from Gilgal who want to come and make a league with Joshua, make a pact, or Gibeon. There's interesting stuff surrounding Gibeon, by the way. But anyway, they come there, and it says they did work wily, and they went and made as if they had been ambassadors, and took old stuff and old garments, old provisions upon their animals, old wine bottles, old clothes, old garments, old provision, and they went to Joshua to make a league with him. Now, who else has worked wily to make it look as though they've come from a long distance? UFOs, aliens ring a bell, things upon the earth. We've been here before. We've come from a distant land. So they come up to him and they start to say, hey, we come from a far country. All right, now there's a verse in Isaiah, I don't have it up here now, but there's a verse in Isaiah that says, we come from a far country, or they come from a far country, from the far reaches of heaven. That is space, the far reaches of heaven. So what you have is basically a story within a story here of these ambassadors wanting to make a contract with you from a distant land, and oh, by the way, they're lying. Okay, so they keep saying we are your servants. In other words, hey, we've been here before. We seeded this planet. We're here from a far distant land. We are here to serve you. You've been learning about how to grow, and war broke out. Now we're here to help you find your way. All these different things. All right. So again, the 32nd rendition of Joshua chapter 9. Take a look at it, and look at it from a perspective. And this is what they keep seeing over and over. We are very far from you. When you dwell among us, So anyway, it's a very, how they worked wily and proposed a lie to Joshua to show them that, hey, we came from a distant land. All right, it's all a lie. Okay, so that's a good chapter to look at as far as the deception that's going to occur. So the fallen have been here before, and I would add that their technology has been here also, and it's remnants of their technology here. And that's exactly what Joshua 9 is about. To what degree, I'm not sure. The Bible and the direct words of Jesus state in the end time will be as the days of Noah. So to what degree of technology did they have on earth back then? No one's 100% sure, but there is some degree of technology. That's a definite fact. So what I'm getting to is this hewn stone. So there's definite evidence of this hewn stone that's here that has shown, we have been there. How it survived the flood, all those different things, I don't know, or the timing of them. But they're here, and there's no way that we've done it. It's cut to precision, so precise that no mortar is needed to bond the wall together. The cut is made with technology, and the stones fit together with a perfect seal. The word hewn means to be cut off or sever. What these hewn stones is making a league with the fallen. Okay? If we go back to our verse, the bricks are fallen. Okay? So the people are scattered and don't know what to do. And I'm going to add, a rapture might have occurred at this point. Okay? I do believe it will have occurred at this point. Not everyone who's a believer is going to go in the rapture. Okay? There's going to be a lot of Christians asking a lot of questions, okay? And so you have these bricks are fallen, they're scattered, no longer bonded, the veil is lifted, okay? And they can see now that they were tricked, and they know what's going on. So the bricks are fallen, but we will build with hewn stones. This is the fallen angel deception. We will build with hewn stones. In other words, we will have an answer with alien beings to show us what has occurred. And they will have some elaborate lie. We have your children, we have those people that are gone, and they will have all the answers to all the problems for the bricks who have been fallen. Okay. So, if you go that route, you're going to be cut off. This is Job 18:16. His roots shall be dried up beneath, and above his branch shall be cut off. This whole chapter, Job 18, is about the mark of the beast. Okay, and to go that route is to cut off your branch. All right, Jesus is the vine; we are the branches. Your branch to him will be cut off. All right. Building with whose stones is building with fallen angels. Okay. You are involved in the process of going the route that they have chosen. Just as crew technology and a trowel is used to build a very temporary brick wall, we will see an advancement of building a seamless hewn stone wall. The earth leaves evidence of this, and these are found all over the world. Okay? We will cut off Jesus Christ and go this route. I'm not saying we, I'm saying some will cut off Jesus Christ and say, you know what? He came, he's gone, he's not coming back, it's over, I missed it. I might as well see what these guys have to offer. All right, and go with that route. You go that route, you'll be cut off completely. And I'm going to get to a hope here in just a minute, okay? So it's not over, okay? It's not over. But it's going to be much harder. So now, this as I just want to reiterate, all right? So going that hewn stone route is to go the way of the fallen. That's exactly what it is. These are the hewn stones I'm talking about. You can find these all over the world, all over, everywhere. Okay? There's no way our technology did this. Absolutely no way. No way. Okay. So again, Babylon falls, the bricks fall, the veil is lifted, the people are free, but they're scattered, they're scared. A new shepherd is rising, the idol shepherd. Okay, the fallen sons of God are showing up. You have the Antichrist showing up, doing lying signs and wonders. These people believe, but now their beliefs are like, oh my gosh, what now? You know, he's gone, he's not coming back. They're scared. You have, on the other hand, the fallen angels. We can rebuild with them and go that route. And now we're going to get into the sycamores and the cedars. So what I think the word is trying to convey here with the sycamores and the cedars is we go to the mark, we have some understanding about trees. So, and I'm talking about the book of Mark. Sorry, the book of Mark. So in Bethsaida, a blind man is healed by Jesus. And essentially this Jesus puts his spit into the guy's eyes, which I believe spit's used for DNA. A friend of mine brought that up. Great point. A lot of times your saliva is where they collect DNA, so I believe the Jesus DNA he put in his eyes. He saw men walking as trees. God sees us as trees in a lot of ways, by fruit producing, by being planted, by being strong in roots, by being, you have branches that are cut off, thrown into the fire. You have Daniel 4, where trees looks like a nation. So there's different things with trees. But he says, I see men as trees walking. And then Jesus does something with his eyes, and he goes back to seeing normally. So I need to start off with this. The more I study, the more I grow, the more I learn, the more I'm thankful for God's instruction. If you haven't discerned yet that things are not going to quite happen the way that we think, or the way that we've been programmed to believe from presuppositional religious ideas, you really need to lean into the Lord and ask Him on your knees, get with Him in a quiet room with all your heart. Lord, what is going to happen? What is my status spiritually with you? How do you see me? What do I need to do to work on my walk, to work on my faith, to work on my sacrifices, to work on my things? And that's you getting with the Lord and understanding that, you know what, it's just not happening quite like we thought. And the preacher, and all his wisdom that he used to preach isn't seeming to happen really, is what's going to occur. All right. So a friend of mine has done several studies, and I highly recommend his channel. It's Tim Foster 405. He did a few videos back where he scripturally found that there are several different raptures. Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the number of these. I'm not going to tell you, who goes when and all that. That's between you and the Lord. That's the personal walk that you have with the Lord, and He will tell you what your future is in some regards, what you need to prepare for. Not only to, and he found these, and I think this is what's going to boost the faith in those that are left behind. And what I'm talking about is Jesus is going to personally appear to each and every person. Okay? So imagine our bricks falling, the Babylonian system falling. Thousands of people, including children, have disappeared. Bibles are being burned. Famine is striking the land. Fear, war, disease. People, many Christians, have zero hope at this point. The rapture's come and gone. There would be no hope left. And the line for the mark of the beast would be huge. People need to survive, right? They need to eat, they need water, they need clothing, they need shelter, they need all these things. So people at this point, if they miss this rapture event, this first gathering, it's going to really damper their hope into what they believed, especially if they were not strong in the faith to begin with. As all hope would be lost into thinking they missed the one and only rapture. Without that personal relationship, they put their faith back into the new technology, hewn stone system. Okay? Many do this now, and they bounce from God to God. Imagine the pressure that they will face when this country falls to the beast system. So these are those two videos. Okay? Go to his channel. It's just Tim Foster 405. Scroll through his videos, and you can find these. Okay? And that'll talk about a personal visit. I believe it's going to be during the 3 days of darkness of Jesus Christ to every person on the planet. And the Bible says this, and I've watched these videos. I just don't have the time or really the urging to put all that in here. All right, I told you all that because these sycamore trees are those left behind who have been repentant of their sin. Notice the phrase, we will change them to cedars. We will change them? How do you change a tree to a cedar? Or a certain tree to a certain tree? Hopefully that phrase has you cued in. We have to look at just what a sycamore tree represents and is. I think the best example is Zacchaeus, the short man who climbed the sycamore tree to see Jesus. Luke 19. So if you go there and you look at this, this is what I discovered. With that, I want you to think a little bit about Saul and Paul. He also had Jesus appear to him on the road to Damascus, okay, and changed his life on a dime. You all know the story, or you should. He finished his walk to Damascus. He goes and sees Ananias, which means bride of Christ, I believe, or bride or something of that nature. He goes to the street called Straight, which means straight and narrow. His eyes are opened and he's healed, all right, and then he goes on a wondrous journey for Jesus in starting up churches and educating them and leading them. And initially he was the chief of sinners, right? And here we have the chief tax collector, okay? And so again, you have this chief of sinners, chief tax collector, who was essentially a it was one thing to be a tax collector back in those times, they were regarded with much hate by their people, but to be the chief tax collector puts a whole new twist to it. And of course, he was rich because he got rich by his job for the Romans. So again, just think about these little connections between Saul, Paul, and Zacchaeus. I hope I'm saying that right. Some people say Zacharias. I think it's Zacchaeus. But anyway, small in stature. Did you know that the word Paul, I think, means small? So you have small in stature, and he was looking for Jesus, but he couldn't see him. Okay? And he ran ahead and he climbed up the sycamore tree. And Jesus was going to pass by. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and hid and said, Zacchaeus, hurry up and come down, for I must come to your house or stay at your house today. During that 3 days of darkness, Tim talks about in his video, Jesus coming into our homes and making a meet with us, to talk to us, to set us straight. So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. Won't that be a relief? The bricks are falling, everything's scattered, the beast system is rising up, and here you have Jesus coming to say, hey, what's going on? And received him with much joy. Of course, everybody would. Okay? Now, some people who are wicked are going to be turned over to their own devices. So, Jesus holds and the Father holds everything in a balance. Okay? Everybody's given the proper opportunities and the proper people in their lives to come to Christ. And the crowd saw it and they all grumbled, okay, Lord, behold, half of my goods I give to the poor. So he's like, hey, Lord, I'm doing it. All right, I'm giving up all my stuff. I don't care. I'm giving away everything. And he's basically telling the Lord, I'm doing everything. I've restored everything. And he says, today salvation has come to this house. Okay. And he's also a son of Abraham, which is kind of key. All right. So this is where it gets, and this is from James. All right. He talks about faith and works. Okay. Many believe. Okay. Many people believe in Jesus Christ. Okay. And even the demons believe and shudder. You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that God is one, and you do well. Even the demons believe and shudder. Do you want to be shown, you foolish person, that faith apart from works is useless? Was not Abraham, your father, justified, son of Abraham? Okay. Was not your by works when he offered up his son Isaac on the altar? Okay. Offered up son Isaac on the altar. Faith is active along with his works, and faith was completed by his works. Okay. The offerings he did. Okay. His faith was completed by the offerings that he did, and Scripture was fulfilled. Abraham believed in God and was counted with him as righteousness, and was called a friend of God. You see, that person is justified by works and not by faith alone. In the same way was not also Rahab the prostitute. Foolish persons, I immediately thought of the foolish virgins. Okay. You are my friends if you do what I has commanded of you. I no longer call you servants, but I now will call you friends. Okay, because okay. His name means remembered. Okay, so Zacchaeus' name means remembered. All right, God will remember. He will not forget you. Have faith. If you're hearing this and the bricks have fallen, have faith. Okay. The cedar trees in the Bible are a tree that's sought after for their great strength. Psalm 92, the righteous will grow up like the cedar. Cedar trees were used in the construction of the Lord's temple by Solomon. The kingdom of Jesus is built on humility, selfless service, and sacrifice. The kingdom of darkness, again, is built on commercialism, forced commercialism, indulging oneself. We remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger, strong like the cedar. The sycamores. Okay, so these people are running around wondering what's going on. We will change them. Okay? We will change them. And that's what he's talking about here in this verse. They will take those sycamores, those Zacchaeuses who've lost faith, who, he didn't lose faith because he's looking for him. He's like getting up in the tree. I got to find him. I want him. I need him. Where is he? And Jesus says, behold, I will come to your house. Okay? He's going to be there. And so the race will be on for those people. right? The race will be on. And he wants to change them into these strong cedars, all right? The bonded, hewn stones. So the freestones you see in the photograph represent those who willingly lay down their own lives daily, coming to the Lord in prayer. What can I do for your kingdom? Daily sacrifice for the Father and Jesus, for his kingdom. I'll close with this verse. This is 2 Peter. To whom coming was unto a living stone, disallowed indeed of men, but chosen by God and precious, ye also, as lively stones, are built up on a spiritual house, a holy priesthood, to offer up spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God by Jesus Christ. Free stones, people. That's what we need to be. Okay, come out of that matrix. I love you guys. God bless you. Thank you for watching. And I pray for each and every one of you. Take care.